Just another manic Monday. We are live, bashing the brain. Victory Monday for the Bills. We got to wait to see if it's Victory Tuesday for Willie's Redskins.
It's not going to be. We have Marcus Mariota going against Patrick Mahomes. There's a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for you, but either way, you didn't lose. It's not a losing Monday.
I'll tell you, it doesn't look good for New York City either.
No, it does not look good.
Shout out New York City. You had a great run. We'll open up right with politics if you want us to.
We did a 5-minute pre-show with politics, and it's hard to just let it go and transition into wrestling, but we're going to do our best. Willie, did you tweet the show out?
I didn't tweet the show out.
Let's tweet it out.
Dean Anderson just committed to Northern Iowa, though, just now.
Congrats, Panthers.
Just took fourth at Super 32. Big pickup for UNI. They don't get a whole lot of those like superstar blue chippers, but they really turn them into something. They did get Waylon Kressel, who, not a superstar, but he did win Super 32. I love when the Panthers pick up good guys, like great recruits. Busy weekend in wrestling, huh?
Yeah.
U23 popping off.
U23's is wrapping up with. I accidentally tweeted out that U23's was basically over.
I saw.
Well, because I put the graphic out with Casey's tweet, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Couple that in my head with the first time I woke up in 7 days with no wrestling. So in my head, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, it's over. Forgetting that there's still Jax Forrest competing at 1 Eastern today for gold, which is going to be a great match. He's got a guy who has teched his way to the finals, so that's going to be good. But yeah, U23s are popping off. RAF 2 took place. We never, because Willie, up for 2 days, asleep for 4 days. We let the people down with the show last week, and we did not discuss Caleb Henson taking a red shirt. That was monster news.
Yeah. How about, what's funny about that is, like, I teased it on the show, like, several times, and then it didn't come out, and then, we mentioned it on the last show, and then it kind of, like, spiraled. Somebody clipped it, and it kind of, like, spiraled on Twitter as if it was, like, going to be, like, an announcement that there's a new program, or, like, they're adding an 11th weight, or, like,
well,
people thought it was insane. Like, whatever was happening was going to be insane.
Yeah, well, part of that is because the low single clipped it, and that was at the same time that Oklahoma State fans were saying maybe this is confirmation that Jax Forrest is going to enroll in Oklahoma State, forego his senior year of high school, compete second semester. So that's why low single, I think, clipped it, was because there was, whispers and murmurings on Twitter about maybe Jax Forrest enrolling in Oklahoma State. So the timing kind of aligned, and then it was like, well, no, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But yeah, Caleb Henson, I mean, and honestly, I don't think we oversold it or underplayed it. I think Caleb Henson, you have a returning national champ going into his senior year, redshirting, not that common. And obviously you can connect the dots with Bo Bassett getting there next year and them being a 1-2 punch. Like, I thought that was big news, and I don't think we understated it. I thought it was pretty big.
I think it's really big. I mean, how many guys are national champs? Are returning national champs? How many guys have been to 2 NCAA finals that are back this year? Not many, and one of them's redshirting. Clearly the number one guy in the country. Not saying he can't be beat, but he was clearly the number one guy in the country, and he's redshirting, and it's pretty big news to me. I don't know. Some people were like, "Oh, that's a snoozer." Wait, really? The number one guy in the country is redshirting? They're gonna get him and Bo in the lineup at the same time next year? That's not cool. I mean, it's pretty cool, and it's pretty big.
Yeah, and it's wild to me that when you start looking into it, Virginia Tech put out the presser, and I didn't really realize it until they said it, that they graduate nobody this year. Everybody's coming back. So they're going to have a really strong squad. And when you factor in Caleb Henson and Bo Bassett, that's a pretty powerful 1-2 punch.
Well, I
thought
think
it was big
doesn't
too.
Van Treska? I think Van Treska graduates, but other than that, yeah, I guess you're right. And they have some good guys down low.
No, I think Ventresca has another year still, because I think he got the medical redshirt year.
I believe this was a medical redshirt year. I could be wrong.
So I went to, because I thought Ventresca, and so I went to WrestleStat 2022, his redshirt freshman, or he redshirted. Then he had his redshirt freshman year, and then 2024 medical redshirt, and then last year was a sophomore. So he'll have this upcoming season and then the following year.
All right.
So they graduate nobody.
That's one thing that a lot of people thought that it might be. It might, like when there's big news coming, it's going to be the 5 for 5. Put it, please, for the love of everything holy. Put in the 5 for 5. There ain't no Olympic years. There ain't no medical years. You got 5 years to compete in 5 tournaments, or you got 5 years to compete.
You did put that in the show notes under.
We ain't messing around with.
You put that in the show notes under. Sometimes it's better if you hear things third hand. With that tweet.
No, that's not.
Oh, that's not that? Because right below that was the tweet about 5 for 5 not coming anytime soon.
No, the thing about
I can't keep up with the show notes.
The thing about sometimes it's better to hear things third hand. So Freyer told me that Henson was redshirting, right? And I didn't say a word about it. And it was killing me that it wasn't coming out. So but I'm not going to break that trust, right? I'm not going to. So if Freyer tells me, then I can't say it. But if I heard it,
yeah, I know you're
passed down the line, I could just say it. I wouldn't be guilty of breaking any confidentiality or trust. And so the whole time I'm sitting on it, I'm like, man, I wish I didn't even get it from him.
I know. It is funny you say this. I was talking to somebody about why certain people on Twitter or Facebook, whatever, will share stuff out. And I'm like, easy, because there's no accountability. Somebody likely didn't tell them and said, hey, don't say anything. If somebody tells you, hey, don't say anything, you can't. But if you hear it through the grapevine and you tweet it out, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. No, do not keep the Olympic year. 5 for 5, that's it. None of these shenanigans. I hate it.
No, I agree.
AJ Ferrari got an Olympic year a couple years ago. He didn't wrestle for 3 years. He didn't do anything to earn the Olympic year. It's a ruse.
I think the Olympic red shirt, too, is, if you, maybe we should, I guess now the season's here, so it'll be next summer, but if you do a report and look at how many guys got an Olympic red shirt simply out of manipulating the system and getting that year, very few guys, I feel like, take an Olympic red shirt because they really feel like it's going to help them prepare for the Olympics or even make the team, whatever.
Yeah.
Larry Steele in the chat says, ever since I went Traeger crazy, I'm now accessory crazy, buying ridiculously expensive knife set. But for you brisket and rib smoker, get the 9-inch barbecue pit master dial strong knife is amazing. I did a brisket this weekend. It was fantastic. Larry, you cannot go wrong. Keep buying all of the accessories. Don't be like Willie. Get a Traeger, smoke nonstop for 2 weeks, and then when's the last time you smoked something on it now?
2 weeks ago, I smoked stuff on it. I travel. I don't stay at home in Rochester for months on end.
Hey, I'll be back in the Flamingo room soon. Relax.
I went Super 32. I was home for 28 hours, then right to RAF. I am exhausted. It's probably going to be a terrible show because I am dead tired. I drove back immediately afterwards. I was just a waste of life yesterday. I just laid on my couch for 24 hours.
A lot of men did that. There's this thing called football that's on the television for 12 hours yesterday.
Yeah, I know, but I slept most of the time. Um,
All right. Well, since you mentioned,
Fill me in. Fill me in. You run the show because I'm exhausted.
well, you
I'm
want to
worthless.
talk,
I'm still worthless.
you want to talk RAF first. You want to talk U23's.
RAF was great, man. It's a really good time. It's a really good time. You know, obviously you get to be around some of the best wrestlers in the country and on the planet, and um, I'm starting to do a little bit more and more. And I sat in on the a lot of the interviews. Um, just in case something comes up. You know, they're production guys. These guys do WWE stuff, and they're producers and they're storytellers, but they're not wrestling guys. So um, they have me sit in there, and if something is said, I'll nudge them in the direction of pursuing certain things. You know, um, and sometimes I don't say a word, and sometimes I do, and we use it. But you know, getting to hear everything they say is. I thought Carter did a tremendous job in this interview. It was like, um, you know, Carter said, and it didn't. Not all this stuff comes out, but he said he started wrestling and uh, he was good at it, and but he didn't really like it, but until later on as he got a little bit older, and then he said he didn't realize how big of a world it was. You know, he didn't realize the levels to it. And he said he went to the state tournament his freshman year and took eighth. And he said he locked himself in his room for a month. He didn't come out of his room for a month, and just said, you know, if I'm gonna do this, I'm not gonna do it unless I'm all in.
Yeah.
And and then he said he trained everything, and he said that he never. It was interesting because he said his dad was the boss. You know, his dad was a very direct. Nobody ever, you know, you don't question your father. You know, everything. He was going to be there to take care of everything for you, but you don't say boo to him. You don't say no to him, right? So Carter said he went into his room after he took eighth place, and he came out. He said he eventually came out, and it was the first time he ever was like stern to his father and was like, "Dad, if I'm gonna wrestle, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna eat right. I'm gonna train like this. Because I'm never feeling that way again. And if you don't let me do these things, I'm not gonna wrestle. I'm quitting." And he was scared, right? Because you don't tell your dad. You don't tell your dad your dad tells you what you're doing. And his dad was like, "I'm here for it. I'm here for it." It was funny because he was like, "Well, I ain't eating that crap, but go ahead. Not if you're gonna do it." He's like, "I ain't eating healthy like that, but go ahead, you do it." So he really is. I mean, you can say what you want about all the other stuff. I ain't getting into that, but he really is an incredibly driven human being.
You said you liked the Austin DeSanto interview too, right?
Austin, I knew he was going to be nervous, man. I knew he was going to be nervous. I mean, you know, he knows how he is. I know how. We all know how he is. He gets He gets. He's not. He doesn't like doing a lot of media, right? And he sits down, and the room's like really dark, and you could like 5 feet away, you can almost not see the cameraman's faces and the interviewers' faces and stuff. And Austin sits down, and he's like, and they're like, "All right, Austin, we're gonna," and they do this with everybody. They said, "All right, we're gonna go. You know, we're just gonna take it back. What got you to love wrestling? Where you from? What town you from? How'd you get started wrestling? Why'd you fall in love with it? Yada yada yada." And Austin's visibly like nervous. He's like, all right, yeah, great. I love this stuff. Just kidding. I freaking hate it. He said that out loud. I laughed. And but no, he ended up doing really well. He ended up doing really well. And I actually, at the end, that's one of the interviews that I did jump in, and because I thought it was important. I thought it was important to talk about Brandon Sorsenson, who was there as the coach.
Yeah.
And after I asked the question about Brandon, because I said, Austin, I think you're the quintessential Hawkeye, driven, work hard, singular focus. I said, but you know what? The guy you have in your corner, we haven't talked about in a long time. He's a quintessential Hawkeye too, Brandon Sorensen. And Austin lit up. Austin was happy. And then afterwards, when we got out of there, he goes, "Thank you so much for asking that question, talking about Brandon." Because, I mean, the dude had blood cancer, right?
Yeah.
He was that whole story doesn't get talked about enough. And so it was good having Brandon there, having Austin there. And I hope I think 135 pounds day before weigh-in, because Austin's kind of in the middle of weights,
Yeah.
65 kilograms too big for him. 61 is almost too small for him, but 61 day before, that's really good for him. And who knows? I think maybe he can beat a lot of guys in this format, RAF, and be a staple on the roster.
Yeah. What did you think overall of the momentum for RAF 2 being the second event? I feel like the wrestlers competing, you can definitely tell, like look at David Carr's entrance, for example. These guys, now that they've seen an event, now they've seen two, like I feel like they're spending time thinking about it. They want to go out there and win. It feels like there's more people contributing to wanting to see the success of it. Like that's what was one of my takeaways from watching it. What was your takeaway from being there and seeing all that?
From being there, what I noticed, most of the stuff I noticed was internal. Like the first go around was really hectic because it's the first, and a lot of the team members were new, and like they're worried, is Willie going to execute on this? I'm worried, is this person going to execute on this? I'm worried, is this going right? What is this happening right?
Yeah.
And the first one went so well in that way, and we're starting to get confident in the team members that people were more calm. They were up your ass less. I worried less. Everybody worried less, and it went fine. There was a little hiccup at the end. Somebody in the chat saying I was running around. I was running around during it, and I was, because the scoreboards had me. At one point, the scoreboards weren't right, and so I ran out to the production truck, which is outside of the building. But yeah, that it ended up getting fixed really quickly. But on the athlete side, I think they were eager. We ask sort of a lot of them. A day of photo shoots, the videos each. There's 2 days of video shoots. Half the team one day, half the team the next. Rehearsal. I mean, it is a lot that is asked out of them, but that's what needs to be done to have a professional league, to have a professional product, and the outward facing product.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like they must have all watched part 1 or RAF 1, because none of them said boo. They must have realized that this is what needs to be done. to have a professional league, and I think it went great. A lot of people sort of snub their nose at some of the matchups, and frankly, I wouldn't make some of the matchups, but I'm a wrestling diehard and purist, and we can have a little fun too, and not front load the whole thing. Not every match is going to be Satia versus Burroughs, right? It's not. If every match was Satia versus Burroughs, then no match would be Satia versus Burroughs. That being said, I cannot wait to get to the part where there's enough context behind everything that more of the fights, more of the matches have the gravity that it should. I liked Saul Kazanov versus Green. I thought was like my favorite one. I just think it's. I thought it was gonna be a real competitive match, and it was. But we'll get there. We'll get to that point where it's like long runway. We're trying to build it right, and those guys are trying to build it right, and probably pumping my brakes a little bit because I would like to be the best in the world every match, best in the world, and I would probably, that probably wouldn't be the best idea linearly on the timeline. So.
Yeah, I think too, because it's still early, I think wrestlers have a good amount of leverage right now where, there's certain matchups that I know want to be made, and it's wrestlers saying, nah, I don't really know if I want that match. What's that, your gift bottle of vodka?
Yeah, Saul Kazanov brought me a Russian vodka.
That was nice of him. So I think the wrestlers still have a lot of leverage, which is fine. I think as RAF builds, the wrestlers are going to have a bit of leverage. Like, you need us on the card. You want us on the card. UFC in its early days is not what it is right now. Now UFC has all the leverage because they've built a monster powerhouse of an organization. So I think, too, it's not just not necessarily even wanting some of these stronger matchups earlier. It's getting wrestlers to agree to it when it's still so early.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that was a little bit card one. I mean, but we can get the monsters. We can get monster matchups, and that's coming. That's going to come. But we're trying to pace it. We're trying to build it right. Yeah, as far as the venue, I thought it was a great crowd. Obviously, you want, if you have 5,000 people, you want 10,000. You have 10,000, you want to sell out 20,000. I thought it was about the same size crowd as Cleveland, although I thought the Cleveland crowd was a little bit rowdier. Like, I thought they were a little bit more cheery. Sometimes at BJC, it was like, I don't know, the crowd was kind of quiet and reserved for a little while. That was interesting.
You think it's more of just waiting? Like, there were some explosive moments at the first one, like Nolf and Wick, and then there were some explosive moments that I feel like definitely helped too. Or when you have Gomez gets a 10-0 tack. Like, there were things I think that it's tough. I mean, when Bischoff was on here talking about it. What? It
kind of seemed to me like Cleveland was a general wrestling fan crowd. And it seemed to me like Bryce Jordan was a Penn State crowd.
Yeah, makes sense.
They would go quiet when it was a non-Penn Stater. That's what it seemed like to me.
Both the Penn Staters losing didn't help, with Carter and Nico both losing.
Yeah. Why was it only full on one side? That's by design. They didn't sell the seats. They open it up this way. They open up the seats, and then they open up sections on the other side, but didn't sell on the other side. So, I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say 4,000 and change, something like that. So, but Chicago, Chicago's next on the docket. That's going to be a really good card. I think. It's going to be Chicago heavy, of course. But and the design was really the design for the Penn State card was to have a lot of Penn Staters on it. But two things happened. One, Penn State on a football weekend, there's no hotels, and it would have been a disaster. And two, because we moved it, then U23's, the proximity to U23's, I don't think we should have had it at Penn State this weekend. I don't think we should have had, Cleveland when we had Cleveland, when Ohio State's playing Texas on opening football weekend, college football weekend. But they both went off pretty good. Could have been better, but pretty good nonetheless, and I think it's growing.
Yeah, I like the consistency. Now we're getting another one next month. I think it's the 29th?
Yeah, Chicago will be a pretty good venue, a Wintrust Arena, a newer arena. I think it should be a really perfect size for us, and the card will be good. Expect to see a lot of the native Illinois guys and girls. Real will be on it, almost guaranteed. Kennedy will be on it. Go through the Illinois people, and it's pretty good odds they'll be on it. I also think I won't let the cat out of the bag. There's going to be some interesting matchups.
Any of the matchups from RAF 2 stick out to you, results wise?
Well,
Nate Jackson beating Carter, that was a huge win for Nate.
Yeah, it was interesting. And I'll tell you, we're getting betting lines. We're working on getting betting lines up. And with an agency, right? We don't set the lines. There's there's a company that does it, and then what they do is they have them there for distribution. So they'll set the lines for something, and then everybody uses them to pick them up, whether it be DraftKings or whatever book it might be. And so for the last couple of weeks, I've been having meetings with them, and they've been, I helped them with results and getting my input. And when we got to because we're doing almost like a dry run for it. We knew we weren't going to get it in time for this one, but we were acting as if we were. We didn't get it in for this one. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of compliance and getting state approvals and this all this stuff. So anyway, we were talking about it, and I said, Carter Starocci, Nate Jackson is a really weird, really interesting matchup because Carter does not lose. He doesn't lose in folk style. The last time Carter lost a championship match was as a sophomore in high school. He took second as a sophomore at the state tournament. Then he won a state title, then he won 5 NCAA titles. And his brand, his aura is much bigger than Nate Jackson's. But Nate Jackson has really good international stuff. Really good international results. And he's big. He's gone back and forth between 97 to 86, that whole range, and done well. I looked it up. Nate Jackson has never not placed top 3 at an international tournament. Like his last 7 or I don't know 5, whatever.
Yeah.
He hasn't not placed top 3 at an international tournament, and the matchup's going to be really weird. I think I told them, I said I think everybody will take Carter, and Carter might be the right pick, but this is a scary match. This is this is a really interesting match. And it's a different style, right? Carter is used to folk. You get in on a shot, and there's in folk style there's not a whole heck of a lot of danger to be had. If you can't finish the takedown, no big deal. Get stalemated, you go back up. Here you could get hip tipped. You could all kinds of different stuff could happen. And not to mention Nate's length. And so Nate comes out, and man, he really stared a hole right through Carter the whole time the intros were going, and Freight Train doubled him 20 seconds in, and really set the tone. And Carter started getting to some positions, but couldn't finish. Got a couple push outs, but that was about it. And I don't know. The fact that Carter took the match kind of made me think, okay, maybe Carter is now going all in on wrestling, because I wasn't sure. You got MMA? What's he going to do?
Doing a lot of MMA training lately.
Yeah, and so I just don't know. I am not in any way, shape, or form saying that Nate Jackson won that match because Carter's half in, half out. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Either Carter is half out, or Nate's that good, or I don't know.
Combination of the both. Yeah.
Carter has to go back to the workshop because he needs to change some stuff up.
Yeah, and I mean, Carter has been in California, has been in New York City. He's been doing a lot of MMA training. I mean, if you follow him on social alone, you see it. You see a lot of the MMA training. So when he took the match, I kind of had the same thought. I'm like, maybe he's been training wrestling more than – maybe he's just showing more of the MMA training, but he's still dialed in on the wrestling side. But yeah, not sure.
Yeah, well, and when – so Nate comes out ultra confident, and then immediately scores a 4, and I'm like, okay, this is great, because Carter, sometimes is very content to win a 3-1 match, Yeah. I'm like, okay, now we'll have to pick up the action, because Carter's going to have to score a bunch of points, 4-0 plus the criteria of having a 4. Well, I guess that doesn't even matter in our league, but he'll have to score a bunch of points, right? So, but it never came. Carter never really showed a sense of urgency. He was able to get to some positions. I don't know if it was Nate's positioning or size or length or whatever, but Carter wasn't able to finish.
Yeah. What'd you think of Varner over Downey? Varner, I feel like he had the most coach takedown ever. I think it was towards the end. You can tell it was it looked a lot like watching Varner in the practice room with the college guys. How he's what's funny is this they lean on me for all the wrestling stuff. All the wrestling questions, all the articles that go up on the site. I give them notes, and they turn it into AI, and they post stuff. So anyway, this time, the production team, I got to know the production team, which is an independent company that comes in and they have all the graphics of them. They have all the visuals, and they produce the show. Yeah.
Along with Eric Bischoff. But all the wrestling stuff comes from me, right? We need notes for the announcers, and we need this and that. So but this time, before the show, the producers a couple weeks said, Willie, can you give us some notes and some bullet points for each bout? Yeah, sure. So I did that, and I thought that was just for the announcers, really. But I noticed in rehearsal, like Kurt Angle and Bubba are going through it, and they're running up the screen. They're putting stuff on the screen. I'm like, those are my bullet points. They are going to go on the broadcast. And I'm like, I don't even remember what I wrote, Like, I hope they're on point. I thought whatever.
So those were the Kurt's angles.
Yeah. And, yeah, that's a whole nother story. But I put in there what to watch for Varner's ankle pick, and then he hit it, and I'm like, all right, well, at least in my brain, I was like, at least one of my notes was spot on,
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Downey didn't do much, but it could be that Jake's just really good in those collar ties and just doesn't leave you get much going. I was worried about Downey's gas tank. It's interesting that match was interesting too, coming in my opinion, because on one hand, the fear that Downey is going to gas is always there. On the other hand, Jake doesn't really make you gas as far as getting into a lot of exchanges. Now, he might make you gas in that he's heavy, just hanging on you. And I was waiting for Downey to, like, try something, like go a little wild with something. And I just think that hanging on his head the whole time just gassed him. Like, didn't visibly... You weren't sure why he gassed, but it had to be that hanging on the head because he had nothing.
Yeah. Varner's a strong guy. Got to be strong. You have, what, 7 kids? That's a lot of dad strength.
Yeah. And it was nice to see Jake get a win. I mean, he didn't have to take the match. He's Olympic freaking champ. Coaches at maybe the best room on planet Earth. And it was great for him to wrestle in what is now his hometown and get back on the mat once and give it a whirl, It was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was RAF 2. RAF 3 is about a month out in Chicago, Wintrust Arena. Matches will start being announced soon. Willie, let's talk a little U23's.
Yeah, run it down. I know the basics. I know the bullet points. I know that my man Luke Lillidahl did the damn thing yet again. So let's go brief. Let's go real quick and then get granular.
Yeah,
Luke won. 61 is Jax. He's in the finals.
He's in the finals today at 1 Eastern.
He's in the finals. 65 Marcus was knocked out, but
yeah, he lost 4-2, and then his opponent lost in the semis. So he
had Ulu, right? He had a Kyrgyzstan guy.
Yep, Ulu lost 4-2 to Ulu in the very opening round, and Ulu lost in the semis.
That's. I mean, I'm not saying that I would have picked that, but it certainly wasn't easy. It's not shocking. Surprising, maybe not shocking.
Yeah.
PJ took bronze.
Yep, PJ got
a pretty good bracket.
Yeah, he bounced back too nicely because he got teched 14-4 in the semis, bounced back, got a pin, up 7-2 for bronze.
So what happened there? I didn't even see a snippet of it. I just know the result.
Of the semi loss?
Of PJ's loss, yeah.
I'm trying to think back to that match. I'm pretty sure it was a
Hebetov.
Yeah, I think it was a bunch of guts. They just overpowered him. But I'm also there was a couple of matches like that. I know Barr's match, he got injured through one of the guts and all
right, 74. What happened to 74? Mitchell won.
Mitchell just absolutely dominated everybody. I mean, maybe his biggest win was Mitchell. I mean, he won with the Tech 12-2 in the finals, but he beat Aogi in the semis, who just won Worlds at 70 kilos. And I know, like, some of these, like, Blaze coming up to 65, him coming up to 74, and Messenbrink just bringing all the smoke. I thought it was a great, great win for Messenbrink. So Messenbrink won gold, and then Levi Haynes is just continuing to improve.
Well, like let's walk back. That's what I think. A lot of. I'm not trying to be demeaning, but when a lot of college wrestling fans, like casual freestyle guys, they might be big wrestling, they might be big college fans, but casual freestyle fans, and they see a match like Spencer Lee get beat by Haratunian, and they think the world's coming to an end, and Spencer needs to do this, and Spencer needs to do that, and this, or even like to sit back and watch like Jordan Burroughs' career. Gold, 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 bronze, silver, bronze, gold, silver, bronze. And then to like look at Marcus Blaze's trajectory, and then, okay, Marcus lost first round. You need to understand that these things can happen. Like, they don't happen in folk very much. But in freestyle, they can and do. And it's a really tough world, which should give you more perspective on how difficult it was for Jordan Burroughs to have the run he's had. Mm-hmm. Which, when Dake was going gold, 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 and then he lost at the Olympics, it's like, oh, something's wrong with Kyle Dake. Well, it's tough. It's tough. I don't know. It doesn't mean that Marcus is not as good as we thought he was. I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I agree.
So Mitchell wins. Levi wins.
Yeah, by the way, Larry Steele, I was just commenting back to him because he said that Messenbrink didn't dominate in the semis with the 7-4 win. He won the last second takedown. Yeah, but he drove the pace the entire match. And every 3 seconds, it was like these little finger things, and let me take an injury timeout. And I thought Messenbrink, even though he won the last second takedown, I don't think if you tell somebody, oh, Messenbrink won the last second takedown, that's an accurate depiction that Messenbrink was the driver of the entire match, in my opinion. Levi Haynes looks absolutely incredible, continues to just looks incredible.
Hey, look, a Cuban medaled. That might be like the first Cuban I've seen to go to any worlds. Certainly age group worlds.
Yeah. So Levi gets gold. Rocco drops a tough one to Romani in the quarters, and then Romani lost in the semis. What's Rocco doing?
Oh, Rocco's out?
Yeah, he lost to Iran, to Romani in the quarters, who then lost in the semis, so he did not get pulled back in.
Who beat Magomedov at 86?
That's a good question.
Interesting. Some dude from Romania? That's interesting. He's gonna come. He'll be wrestling at RAF, by the way. 2-time junior world champ.
Low Single in the chat said that's the Cuban that got DQ'd against D Lockett at Pan Am's.
Oh, okay. Hey, where are we at? I see Iran winning here at 92. Where are we at in the team race?
Let me pull that up. After heading to the final day, it's U.S. 122, Iran 112, Russia 85, Japan 75, Turkey 65. So we're out in the lead. I think we win. I think the max Kozak put out was USA 137, Iran 136. So we can win.
Sharipov from Bahrain, bronze at 92. He's coming to RAF too. So what happened to Bar? Did Bar get injured during the match?
Yeah. So Bar he was, I think he was leading 3-1. I can't remember. So many sports this weekend. I think he was leading. He got taken down, and the Iranian went to gut him. And on the first gut, he gets it over, and then as he's turning him back, you can tell Bar's like basically just trying to call an injury timeout. Like he's like, I'm like, yo, hey, yeah, right. Timeout. And so, and then he just got tossed back and forth 4 times, whatever, to end it in attack. And then he got pulled back into repechage, but he couldn't go.
Well, hopefully it's all right. Is there any word? I was talking to the Penn State guys that were there, and they said they didn't know.
Yeah, I asked him if he was okay. He said, hopefully. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know that was right after the match. So I haven't talked to him since. So yeah, so then Bar did not place, medical forfeited out. GK, as I'm now just referring to him at 97, looked great in his first match.
That's great to go with that. Let's go GK.
GK won a great match over Egypt, 12-1 tech, looked great, and then lost a tight one to Kazakhstan. No, he got teched 11-0 by Kazakhstan.
Eight Mukan's good. This is a good bracket.
It is. There were some really solid brackets. Especially for U23s. Like, you never really know what you're going to get with U23s because the standard pecking order is like cadets, juniors, seniors. And they've kind of thrown in U23s. And I thought John Kozak did an awesome job in his – he really always does with international, but especially for U23s because he's like, hey, this guy is, like I think he said – it was one of the Iranians – I think the Iranian who beat – Welsh Bar was like second on the senior level, and there's a lot of good tidbits, but U23s is harder to follow, I feel like, because there is a bit of, hey, this guy was a cadet champ, this guy was junior, this guy's senior. Like, it's such a hodgepodge. And while this year, like, we had a really strong team, but U23s was also just very strong as a whole this year, not just the squad we sent.
Yeah.
And then Daniel Herrera wrestled for a bronze at heavyweight and lost to the Turkish guy, got teched, took 5th.
Hey, so speaking, kind of relatedly, I'm thinking Daniel Herrera, Iowa State, Kobe Merrill, Iowa State, Kobe Merrill's brother, Cody Merrill, Wrestle Offs. You see where my brain's going here. Some interesting results there, right? Cody Merrill losing his wrestle off at Okie State.
Yeah. I have one final U23 note, and then we'll talk some wrestle off notes. It is crazy that I was starting to look at stats for some of the guys U23s, and the mouth breathers kind of got annoyed with me because I said that Luke Lilladal was the first to win U17s, U20s, and U23s. And the context was obviously men's freestyle because Amit Lord did it at every level. U17, U20, U23, Senior Olympic, like she's done it all. I was talking strictly men's freestyle. Lilladal's the first one to do it. And then Casey Cunningham puts out a tweet last night. And I had talked to Nick Lee about this, and I completely forgot. Penn State ended up with 15 of the 30 guys across all 3 teams, U20, U23, senior. Absurd. They had half of all 3 teams. And on top of that, they then medaled in 11 of 15 of those weights, which is a crazy high percentage. To not just have 15 of the 30 guys, but then you medal in 11 of those 15 weights. Crazy.
Hey, let's get a
live call in.
Let's get a live call in. Schwab Mob. I know that's what you're gonna. I literally, I'm doing a live show when it dropped. I literally started off the show with Dean Peterson, my boy Dean Peterson, the UNI. I love it. Yep. I'll call you back in a little bit. We're live on the show now. You want to say anything? You want to say anything to the people? I'll relay the message.
Does he want a link to join the show?
How about Waylon Kressel? You got Waylon Kressel, Super 32 champ. You know what he said to me, Doug? This will be good for the people and for Doug. So Waylon Kressel comes up to me at Super 32 because I'm sitting on the end of the row at Super 32, like I always do. And he asked me a question. Where I think he said where do we get our Super 32 singlets? And he made some remark that like he had no idea who I was, which I didn't take offense to, but the people around me were like, "Ha, Willie, you don't even know who you are." And I said, "Waylon, before you go, are you going to wrestle this high school season?" And he goes, "No, I'm training to be a national champ next year." So I thought you'd like that. All right. Well, I'll call you back a little bit. Love you. See ya.
The new call-in segment of the show where we don't play the audio of the other person calling in.
No, we don't play the audio. We don't play the audio.
So yeah, I thought that was incredible. There's always like the boo birds when all of a sudden like, Blaze and Barr and Welch don't play. So then it's like, well, timeout. Let's look at the whole picture. They had 15 of the 30 guys across all three teams, and 11 of the 15 medaled.
11 of the 15 medaled. And it wasn't Blaze, it wasn't Barr, and wasn't Welsh. That's 3. That means only one other across all the other divisions.
Yeah, across U20 and senior. It's wild. So,
and I'm sure that's not including Jaden James, who...
Yeah, the stat was not indicative of cadets, because cadets is kind of hard where some of the guys aren't committed. Really, so, yeah. And they're not, so yeah, crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so let's talk Wrestle Offs a little bit, because it is funny. I was breaking Zach Ryder's chops a little bit. Like, hey, where's the press release for the Wrestle Off results? Like, it's so funny because I think some of these schools do such a good job. I love when you have like Dresser. I think is one of the most transparent coaches in the sport. It's like, hey, here's a link to watch the whole tournament. We're gonna do a tournament style. Here's the finals. Watch them. Not just tell us what happened, but you can watch them all. And then you have these ones like Oklahoma State, Penn State, where probably Iowa too. Like they're a bit more secretive. But Oklahoma State, it looks like one of the things they've been doing this past year. I've just been probably paying attention to it more, but they're starting to looks like have big donors and people where it's like, hey, we're not going to put this public, but you're invited. So it looks like there were some people there, and that's where we saw some of these results start leaking out slowly.
Yeah, I think, and it, a month or so ago, they had an event where they wrestled some foreigners, and it wasn't streamed anywhere.
Yeah.
I think it was in Dallas. It was in Texas somewhere. And I was like, that's interesting. And then I think they did it again, and then maybe with Wrestle Offs. And, it does give some, like, secret society, like, perks.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say secret society, because then I'm not trying to say they're keeping things secret.
No, but they're giving perks to their
donors. It gives the donors some skin, right? Yep. So it's kind of cool.
I think it's an awesome way to incentivize people to, wrestling is such a charity sport. And I feel like when you have all these donors, why not incentivize them? Like, hey, you want exclusive access? You want this, you want that. Like, we want to give you perks and we want you more involved. I think it's an awesome move. All that to say, yes, it was put out that Merrill lost the Wrestle Off. And it's like, I feel like Levi Haynes talked about it when he was on, and he lost a Wrestle Off earlier in his career. And it's like, there's a school of thought that some people are mad that Wrestle Offs don't hold the weight that they should. Like, if you can win your Wrestle Off and still not start. I don't think winning a wrestle off against a teammate is the lone reason a coach is going to wrestle a guy. In some cases, they might.
Well, I mean, and that's being said in the chat right now is like, I don't, who was it? Larry Steele says, wrestle off should be secret. I think they give us less clarity and more internal drama in a lot of situations. That sounds like a you problem. That sounds like a fan's problem. If a fan can't watch wrestle offs and see A beat B, but B still be the starter, and you internalize that as internal drama for the program, that's a you problem. Yeah. You need to understand that not every wrestle off means that the winner is going to start. And hell, half you guys probably are too young to remember a time when wrestle offs were public. They used to be public all the time. And your ones wrestled your twos. Sometimes the twos won. And it wasn't the end-all be-all. They'd send them to tournaments, this and that. And now, because the fans don't know how to handle it, I guess it's because the fans don't know how to handle it. It's a little bit because the coaches don't know how to handle it. The coaches don't know how to handle when the 2 beats the 1.
Yeah,
because they don't, they'll have wrestle-offs. Nowadays, they'll have wrestle-offs and we'll have the 1 versus the 4. We'll have the 2 versus the 3, but they ain't having the 1 versus the 2. So we don't get nothing. We don't get any indication. And so now we all lost. I mean,
yeah, I feel like
Johnny Thompson won a national title, lost a wrestle off the next year. Hunter Stever lost a wrestle off to Ian Paddock one year. There's famous ones. And it didn't change who was starter, but I don't think the coaches, I don't think the fans know how to handle it. The fans don't know how to handle it. And in turn, the fans not being able to handle it makes the coaches a little snowflake-ish.
Ian Paddock is a name I have not heard from a while. Warsaw, Section 5. Yeah, I also think, I agree with what you're saying. I also think social media has largely amplified that. Because if a guy loses a wrestle off and then he goes on social media and he's reading comments and he's reading what people are saying, I've seen a lot of that as well. So I think coaches are aware of that and whether guys are.
Nebraska had their wrestle offs too, and it wasn't streamed anywhere. It wasn't. Still hard to get result. I mean, the results weren't posted anywhere. I think somebody did it on radio or something, but I don't know. Listen, if wrestle off results creates drama, actually last year Minio tweeted something about wrestle off results at Penn State, and like Bo Bartlett went at Minio and said, "Hey, please don't put the stuff out there. It creates some tension." Listen, that's a you problem. That's don't shoot the messenger. Like, man, if you got problems of the public knowing a result, you better get some thicker skin. I don't know.
Dylan Gunther did tweet out the Husker wrestle-off results.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Another, I feel like there's, we're still early, but I did see, too, at 149 for Iowa State, Panero Johnson took down Jacob Frost in OT at 149. Thought that was an interesting result. That's probably going to be a battle for that spot.
That was an interesting tweet from Cradle Zone.
What?
I'm just being a prick. His tweet said, Panero Johnson takes down Jacob Frost by taking him down in overtime.
Quit being a prick, Willie.
Hey. Cradle Zone also DM'd me about these puppies.
Oh, RAF trading cards.
Yeah.
Should you
They
do a
only made
live
2,000
open?
packs.
You gonna
No,
open
I
it?
ain't opening them.
Open it
I
right
ain't opening
now.
them.
Open it on the
No
show.
way.
You puss.
I ain't.
Come on.
I'm never opening. These are never getting opened. There's only 2,000 packs.
Great. Now that'll be 1,999. You can get another one. Izzy, if you're watching, can you send him a second set? We want to do a, what do they call it? I don't pay attention to it. What do they call it when these people do the, I know there's a huge audience for it where they open the
Unboxing or
unboxings.
something?
Yeah. We want to do an unboxing.
No, I ain't doing it here. I might buy a bunch of others. A bunch of other packs. I asked for some and they gave me one pack. They only made 2,000.
All right.
Which is fine. It's for the fans.
All right. So, we need to, and when I say we, I mean you, need to do Crystal Ball because we need to do a college preview show.
Happening.
Because this weekend, Willie, we have 20 plus duels. We have the All-Star Classic.
All right. So let it be heard. Let it be announced. Thursday. The Bash the Brain NCAA season preview extravaganza show. So this.
But we have to do it because the last 2 weeks, come Thursday, Friday, it's been troublesome.
No, listen, I'm home. This is what I'll do. I'm almost done with the high school rankings. High school rankings will be done and posted by tomorrow morning. Then all day tomorrow, I will just do Crystal Ball, the updated Crystal Ball. You can read that Wednesday. That's your homework assignment. Thursday, mega preview Bash the Brain show.
And Willie, we'll preview this weekend. I mean, there's not the greatest wrestling this weekend. It's more of like week 0 for college wrestling, But we'll preview All-Star Classic a little bit more probably. Also, I need to decide if I'm going to go on another rant on Twitter today, so keep your eyes peeled. I'm really getting frustrated that we're taking steps backwards and we don't have this is just me nerding out, but we don't have Bill Farrell registrations. I know some pretty exciting names that are going, and there's some cool storylines, and I can't talk about it because they're like,
why can't?
There's one, I'll tell you about it after the show because he told me, please don't say it, and I asked how come. And the long and the short of it is like, wrestling's so damn secretive of a sport. And so Guy X doesn't want to say he's competing because Guy Y is not saying he's competing. So it's like, well, if they're not, so it really,
they're all dorks.
I don't know why we're going back. To be honest, Willie, this weekend I went to send an email to Gary Abbott and I realized he's no longer there. So there was a lot of sports being watched this weekend, and I realized Gary Abbott is no longer at USA Wrestling. He's retired. So maybe I got to get a hold of Emil or somebody. But
well, I mean, it should be. First of all, how is journalists supposed to?
Why are we not previewing an event that's next weekend? Like, it's so dumb.
It's amateur hour is what it is.
It is. There's zero reason to not have. Again, especially when they're always there. They're always in the USA Wrestling membership portal. You go to an event, you click on wrestler list, it has the matrix, all the numbers, who's there, all styles.
So that's nowhere to be found right now.
There's no wrestler list tab. What I got from Gary Abbott last year was that coaches started crying because Flo's putting it out, I'm putting it out. People are talking about who's going there, and they feel like it's, well, we don't really.
Who cares? Who cares?
Agreed.
Why?
It's the dumbest thing ever.
Why are we so beholden to the coaches?
It's so dumb.
The same coaches that want to say, well, you don't give my guys any love. You don't give my guys any love. Oh, can we get some shine? Oh, are you going to talk about our guys? Oh, how come you don't talk about our guys? You talk about those guys, but you don't talk about those guys. They're the same. Why can't our sport grow? Why can't we get publicity? And then they go and cry about this, that, X, Y, and Z. Who cares what the coaches say?
I know.
If it was up to them, everything would be held in the wrestling room, and nobody would know the results of it. They say they're the toughest guys in the world. They're snowflakes. They can't even handle public scrutiny.
So I might go on a rant. Keep your eyes peeled on Twitter for that. But yes, Thursday is, you heard it from Willie. Everybody has my permission to tweet him mean words if we do not do our mega show on Thursday. Because it's time. The college season is here. November 1st is Saturday. And it's going to be an exciting season. All right, Willie, anything else? Bills dominated the Panthers. Commanders play tonight.
My fantasy teams are struggling. Everybody's hurt. I have a fantasy team with Jaden Daniels, Amarian Hampton, Bucky Irving. CeeDee Lamb was hurt forever. Kittle was hurt forever. My whole team.
They're in shambles.
Shambles. Now I just found out I have to jump into RAF 3 meeting. But listen, Bash, are you in for Super Thursday season mega show?
The mega show bonanza Thursday to kick off the college season, which starts Friday night, Saturday night.
Let's go.
All right, that's the show. Subscribe, like, comment, do all those great things. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Yell at Willie if it does not happen. Not me. Go Bills.